talking to my boy about this. Like, racism is so ingrained in the fabric of America. Like, it's gonna take everything to uproot that shit.
Be a revolution of values in our country.
This is the Colored Entrance Podcast with Brian Petty.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Colored Entrance, and I'm your host, Brian Petty. And today we got a special guest with us, Jelani Curtis, who's an activist, an art director, and somebody who's been doing a lot of great work. He's done work for the likes of Skittles, Starburst, IKEA, American Express, very major brands. And currently, when I say activism, he took a challenge of his own and did something very big, very major for Breonna Taylor. And we wanted to bring him on the show to talk about that and then hear more about the steps and the plans that we can take as a culture to proceed and move forward and do things that are going to be able to help. So without further ado, everybody, Jelani Curtis.
Yo. Appreciate you having me, man.
What's up, man? I appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
Jelani, man, tell us about the challenge, though. What happened?
The challenge. Well, I mean, I think a lot of people, if you're listening to this or watching this, you've seen the Instagram post that said, go harder for Breonna Taylor. And I took that as a personal challenge. I saw that and thought, okay, I'm damn sure I ain't doing enough. And so I started to look into it. I'm like, all right, let me make the phone calls. Let me send the emails. Let me sign the petitions. So, I signed the petitions, and then as I was going to make the phone calls and emails, I was like, this seemed a little harder to do because, I mean, and when I say harder, it's just maybe I'm being a little lazy, but the numbers and emails were just embedded in different IG posts. Yeah. Or, scattered in my bookmarks. So I was like, there's got to be an easier way. And literally it was, the thought is demanding justice for Breonna has been hard enough. Let me make it easier. So I created forbreonna.com, which makes, demanding justice easier. Literally one tap, one click to call, email, tweet, or even set a reminder on behalf of Breonna Taylor.
So, I mean, I guess the thing that I would like to know, and maybe the viewers would want to know, is like, what made Breonna Taylor? I get that somebody shout out like do more, but what made it so impactful for you? Like, what was different about this case? Because it's not the first person that's been a subject of very, very I don't know, like the word I'm looking for, like injustice or something that's been like somebody's been harmed by the system that didn't deserve it. So what made her somebody that you wanted to step up for?
I think it's a couple things, man. I think one is the fact that I heard about Ahmaud Arbery and George Floyd, which everybody, knows about and heard about. I heard about those two individuals, and I didn't even hear about Breonna Taylor until after those two were killed, and she got killed months before they did.
Damn.
And she got killed by police officers on March 13th, which is the day before my birthday. So it has even more of a personal thing because while at midnight, I'm celebrating and taking shots on FaceTime with my twin brother and cousins and stuff like that, people calling me, there's somebody who was laying dead, and that ain't cool. That ain't nothing. That doesn't fit well with me. And also the fact that you have black men. It's crazy. As crazy as it sounds, I hope whoever's listening to this understands what I'm saying. It's crazy that even in being slain by the hands of the cops, black women are still at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of awareness.
100%.
So I felt like with me and my black male privilege, I got to do something.
No. I mean, I laugh, but it's serious. I think even dating back to Sandra Bland, it was like very little uprising for her passing, and I thought that was probably one of the most just terrible ways for the men in our culture not to step up and do something.
For sure.
Something that really resonated with me was how you not only stood up for her, created a platform on behalf of her, but also went outside and did a little bit more with your activism. You start setting up Zoom calls, right?
Yeah. So basically, after the website, I created the Instagram account to go with it, which is @forbrianna, and it started just blowing up like quickly, like in a week, and there's no paid advertising. I think I may have put $50 or $70 into it, like with one post, like well after the fact, but it got like 1,000 in a week, and then 3,000 in like a week and a half, and then it like climbed up to 10,000 so quickly. So when it got to close to like 10 or 15,000, one of my boys, Damian Ellis, who I grew up with, I've known him since like preschool, kindergarten. We were talking, and he was like, "Bro, it would be dope if we did like an interactive hour, something where, everybody might be sending their emails and calling, but what if we all did it at the same time?" So, so we set up this Zoom call where we were able to amass over 600, 700 people between Zoom and the For Brianna Instagram account. And literally, we had people emailing and tweeting at the same time. And with the hashtag Justice for Brianna and hashtag For Brianna. And it literally started trending on Twitter as a number 7, like, it may have reached higher. Some people said it reached higher, but it was like the top 10 trending topics that day in less than like 30 minutes.
To take something from a seed of a thought, an idea, right?
Yep.
Because you're impassioned about it, and to see it start to take off. Let's say the first 10,000 or so. What did that do to you personally? I know there's the adage of like just you taking on the challenge, but also when I know a lot of people heard like be the change that you want to see,
right.
And looking in the mirror. So when you finally saw like that movement that you created, this one person doing something that maybe I don't know where you thought it would go, but you saw it pick up. What did that do to you as a person?
It gives you hope, there's a lot of things I was going through personally. Like, one, it gives you hope because it's like, oh shit, okay, I'm not the only one out here that cares about this. There's other people that are like-minded who want to do something. So is that. The other thing is probably all of us follow people who have tens or hundreds of thousands of followers. But you kind of wish you may have had those followers so you could have some type of impact or influence or whatever. Man, that shit ain't easy to deal with. Like, if you get messages all day, learning how to decide or decipher which messages to answer, which questions to answer, how to respond, how to repost, turning off notifications so your phone ain't blinging all day and night. Like, I ain't never dealt with all of that before, so it was a new thing. And it's easy for like even your head to start getting bigger because it's like, look what I'm doing, but it's still like, nah, this is all for there's a goal in mind. There's like, justice is such a big thing, so it's more than just fucking follower counts.
No, that's real, and that's very intuitive because you said it's not just followers, so it takes the abstract and it makes it more granular. So you're focused now on what you do in the Zoom calls. You're more aligned, focusing your vision for a purpose.
Right.
I imagine there's something that you probably hope to get out of it, on top of just bringing more of the word out to the people about Brianna. So let's say you start building a following, you start getting the word out there. I noticed that you started getting into publications. We'll talk about that in a second. But something that's more pertinent is what's happening right now is like they just not too long ago rendered judgment on the entire case. And I noticed that you continued to post after that. It didn't stop you from still putting out the word. Why did you continue?
Oh man, we can't stop. I mean, it's I mean, if we want to be honest, like it's exhausting. It's exhausting and it's not just me posting. It's me designing these posts. It's, the whole For Brianna thing, because I am an art director, and a visual person, and I think a lot of people are visual and care about how things look. I didn't want to just have one of those like ugly looking activism pages, just a bunch of like screenshots.
The first time I heard this, but no, that's real. That's real.
You see a bunch of screenshots of like news articles, and you look through the post, look through and scroll through, and it just looks like spam. So I was like, I want to create something where even when you go to something that means more, it still has visual appeal. So having to do the research and have to do the designing and staining the color palette and typefaces and all that type of stuff was big for me. So, but to answer your question, if I can remember it, don't say it. I know I can remember it. Yes. So to keep posting was important, so that people, when you start building this following, like, dog, it's up to over 42,000 followers now. And
there you go.
Which is wow. That's
big. That's major, baby.
But and honestly, I did stop posting, but I told people I posted last Saturday, and put on the caption was something along the lines of this fight has been exhausting, but trust, like, we're not stopping, we're not retreating. This ain't the time to retreat. So, but it's going to be new updates. There's going to be new contact information. Like, there's been a new chief of police, interim chief of police of the Louisville Metro Police Department just started and got sworn in this past Thursday. So her information is going to be put up. Yvette Gentry, her name's going to be updated. The old police chief is going to be taken off. Like, we're going to make sure all of this information stays up to date, and then there's new calls to action. And I know people are like looking. They're like, "Yo, what's up? Why you're not posting anything like new?" But there's also, it's a lot of research, to go on, and it to me, it has to. Yes, it's still the call. And you let me know if I'm talking too much. But
no, go ahead.
It's still the call. The call of action, of course, is still arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. Arresting Miles Cosgrove.
I feel like that gets lost in the weeds somehow.
Yeah, no, it's still the call of action. Arrest Miles Cosgrove, who shot 16 shots.
Say their names, player. There you go.
Arrest Jonathan Mattingly, who shot 6 shots. Arrest Brett Hankinson, who shot 10 shots. Arrest Joshua James, who swore in an affidavit to get the search warrants. Look into Judge Mary Shaw, who approved those 5 warrants that were executed simultaneously on the night of, or on the early morning of March 13th. Everybody's accountable.
There you go.
So when I say all of that, it's to say that the fight ain't over. It's arresting the cops, but it's also having a deep dive investigation into what even brought the cops to Breonna Taylor's door.
The system, because it's from the start of it to the action. She got shot 5 times. Boyfriend was locked up. There's a whole bunch of fuckery that happened in between that shit, right? And then after that, trying to pay off witnesses and
her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, they tried to get him to try to give him a plea deal to say that Breonna Taylor was a part of his drug ring, and he was like, "Nah, she ain't had nothing to do with this."
I found out something not too long ago, recently, listening to Shay Sharp and Mayweather talk, that she was from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah. And that hits hard because I lived in Grand Rapids for a little bit. We both from Michigan, Detroit area. Yeah. And to know that somebody from your hometown moved to Louisville, Kentucky, 9 times times out of 10, when you move out of state, especially to somewhere like Louisville, Kentucky, you're trying to live in a place that's a little bit more safe. I'm sure she thought she was a more safe environment.
Yeah, I mean, I think, don't hold me to this, I think her mom is from Grand Rapids, so her family, I believe, so the Palmer family, I believe, is from Michigan, I believe. Don't hold me to that, but yeah,
that's impressive. Yeah, I like that you know that. That's good.
Well,
I like that you know that.
The only reason why I know that because I did an interview with the Detroit Free Press with Chanel Stitt, who did a great write up, and she one of her questions asked me about the aspect of Grand Rapids, and I was like, oh, that's new news to me. That's crazy. It's like like when you were asking me about it, it's like, okay, she was killed the day before my birthday. She her family happens to be from Michigan. Then you bring in the aspect of fighting for black women, like all these things. It's like it makes it so much more personal.
I think for me, one of the things that always hits home is that whenever you see somebody like Ahmaud Arbery or Elijah McClain or Donald Sterling, was it Elton Sterling? I'm sorry. No matter what the name, I feel like we're just playing musical chairs with names now, and it's so scary because like what you're saying right now is like 6 degrees of separation, right?
Right.
And it doesn't take much for it to land at your front door. So if you do not get up and start speaking out and hitting the streets, the pavement, protesting, being active, maybe something as simple as making the calls.
Yeah.
You put together the website, but if you're not going to make the calls, then you don't care if the system comes and impacts you. Then I really don't see why anybody should care about what happened to you.
Yeah,
it doesn't take much, people.
Yeah, for real. And it's like when you hit me up to go out there, hit the streets to protest and stuff, and
we was marching, we was stomping,
and it was the middle of COVID, and honestly, I was like, man, I don't feel comfortable. And
that was real. And you said that too.
And I felt fucked up for even saying that. It's like, yo, we got we got a fight going on.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was on the sideline and watching my people getting jumped. But so the thing to me also was looking at it and like, no, we got for this fight. I think for far too long, and I've said this before, but for far too long, we've gotten into this thing of like, there's only one way of fighting. We've gotten into these arguments. It's like, oh, should we be peaceful? Should we be violent? Is the answer to vote? Is the answer to hit the streets? Is the answer to, peacefully, like all of this stuff?
Malcolm Martin.
But the honest to God truth is that the answer is yes. It's all of that. It's all of that.
There you go. There you go.
It's to me, it's like, it's like fighting Thanos. It's like you need Spider-Man, you need Iron Man, you need Thor, you need the whole, you need from all different angles.
You need that Black Panther, you need that Wakanda forever.
For real. Because and I was talking to my boy about this, like racism is so ingrained in the fabric of America, like it's gonna take everything to uproot that shit. So so I felt like for me that's my way of fighting and kind of being able to galvanize kind of the Twitter fingers and the fucking digital troops.
No, because it's probably one of the strongest forces that we have, and it is dangerous. The thing is, they want to keep us divided. At the end of the day, if we can come together and not be fighting and bickering over small stuff, like you said, the answer is yes. Let's just focus on everybody being active. Then we're going to get a lot more done in a positive way. I was watching a lot of news, and they've been saying that this is probably the most that you've seen black and white come together and protest injustices of civility. And we're breaking records, but you wouldn't know it because they're not telling you on cable news. They're going to tell you on independent news, and we need to be more active about that.
I tell you that you're so right. I'll tell you this: over 85% of the people following @ForBrianna are white females.
Boom.
Out of all of those folks, out of over 40,000 people, is all white folks. And it's usually it works the opposite of the way around. Usually it's like you get your people first. You got a bunch of black people saying something, and you're waiting for the allies, the white allies to join. Dude, if you were on any of those Zoom calls, you will see that it was majority white folks. So it's like, so you know that it's bigger than this.
So tell me this, because I know you getting hate. Tell me about the haters. What's going on with that? Because once the verdict is rendered, right, and then it's automatic, like, oh, I told you she was a drug dealer or hanging with drug dealer, and the attorney general's black, so I don't understand why a black person would go against a black person. It's like, have you gotten any of this type of kickback?
I've seen it in comments, and I laugh at some of them because one thing that I think is ridiculous is people thinking that this is some left wing fight. It ain't. I don't prescribe as a Democrat or a Republican. I think it's not but it's I vote towards who I think is going to do best by my people. And so when I look at comments like that where they're like, of course the leftist, this is exactly the games or antics of a leftist to be doing this for a drug dealing girl. And it's like, first off, she had nothing to do with no drugs. Just say even if she did, she didn't deserve that.
1,000%.
But also, this ain't about politics. Like we try to politicize everything. This ain't about politics, man.
Right and wrong.
Yeah, right and wrong.
You are not judge, jury, and executioner. You are an officer of the law. We pay you to be a service and protect people. You sworn to that. But that's not the way it's going down in a lot of these instances.
Nah, it gets lost. It's like this hero fucking warrior bullshit that ends up happening.
Man, so the family got paid $12 million. A lot of people felt like, okay, so you got your money now. Shut up, black people. Go home or something like that. So that's the least they should have got paid. I'm glad they got some form of compensation. Yeah, a lot of people don't get anything.
Yeah, and I know some people, which is ridiculous, some people out here like, yo, the family should never take the money. And it's like, what are you talking about? You got different ways of dealing with suits and justice, and that's part of the civil process. Like the LMPD, Louisville Metro Police Department, knows they did wrong and it was foul play. That was the least that they could do. So they had to uncover that.
Tell me more about the case, because I know you're well versed on the case. What is wanting? What did they charge these officers with? What was that?
They charged one officer. One officer was indicted. So Brett Hankinson, he was indicted on wanton endangerment, which is basically the endangerment of others. So it's if I'm shooting at you, so if I'm shooting right at the camera,
right,
and I know I'm shooting at the camera, but there happens to be, other bullets flying, or bullets flying out. If I don't hit it necessarily, I know that I'm shooting at a specific target.
Okay.
Right. But wanton endangerment is I don't know where the fuck I'm shooting.
Right.
And I'm shooting blindly, which Brett Hankinson was. He was shooting into her apartment from outside.
Yeah.
So he was outside on the patio, sliding doors outside, had no line of vision and basically was just shooting, any way he fucking could. So he got charged for that or indicted for that.
Right, which is a Class D felony, which is
it's bullshit.
It's bullshit. It's
bullshit. It's like
shoplifting or some shit.
Yeah, like somebody said that it's like the equivalent of someone shooting in the air during New Year's, shooting their guns off in the air during New Year's, and and if you want to get even
it took them a long time to come up with that charge too, right?
Some bullshit. Yeah, it took them over 6 months to come up with that. And if you listen to the investigations, it's it's horseshit.
Comparatively, right?
Yeah.
Well, if we just look at those, who's the celeb that recently got busted for paying off their kids to go to school and shit?
I forget. It was a lady from.
It was that show.
Not Family Matters, not Step by Step. What was the one with Uncle Jesse and them?
It was It's Family something, right? That shit's on Netflix. I know. I used to watch it. Full House.
Full House. There you go.
There you go. See, black people watch Full House. We watch that. You know what I'm saying? I used to watch that show. How rude. But yeah, she got basically a slap on the wrist. They got to choose where she wanted to do her time.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah, you know how that goes, man.
Come on now, come on, people, come on. So I love this. The part that I love most, that you start from the onset, what you said from the start, is stepping up and doing more about standing up for black women.
Yeah.
I laughed at it and chuckled, but you said your black male privilege.
Yeah.
There is a privilege to being a black male as opposed to a black female.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman. And as Muslims, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us to respect our women and to protect our women. And the only time a Muslim really gets real violent is when someone goes to molest his woman. We will kill you for our woman. I'm making it plain, yes. We will kill you for our woman. We believe that if the white man will do whatever is necessary to see that his woman gets respect and protection, then you and I will never be recognized as men until we stand up like men and place the same penalty over the head of anyone who puts his filthy hands out to put in the direction of our women. We respect them, but we want them to respect us. We think that the law should respect the Negro community. The law should protect the Negro community. The law should approach the Negro community with intelligence if it expects the Negro community to react intelligently.
It's our job to protect our women, y'all. That's your job as a man. Stand up and protect your women. So when you see somebody like Breonna Taylor or Sandra Bland or anybody else get that's not even disrespect. They got killed.
Yeah.
They got killed. Then stand up, use your voice, speak up. I got a friend, Jorge. Shout out to Jorge. He will say like, lions don't have to roar. That's one of his famous quotes, and he's right. Like, if you're lying, you don't have to roar, but stand up.
Yep.
Let them know that you have a presence, and stand up and be there. Be there for your women.
Yep.
Don't let this land on your front door. Otherwise, you're going to be hurting, and you're going to be mad if other people ain't doing the steps that somebody like Jelani's doing right now. I think it's super important. Jelani's doing way above the call of duty, but he's doing actually the right thing that he should be doing from jump. And we'll get into it because it's something, I know we talked about it why you felt like you wanted to get into this one, but can you remember the first time you started hearing about officers and black people being killed or harassed? Or
I can't remember the first time.
Like when it started ruminating when you were like, all right, man, what the fuck? Like, what's going on?
Man, I mean, shit. I feel like I come from a family of people who very, aware, woke,
Very.
antennas up. So,
Very. Shout out to your parents and your brothers.
Yeah. My parents very much, made you aware, made me and my siblings aware that things were going on that's unjust. And they happen to work in, the law system. They happen to work in law, the law system. That's the right.
Did they have anything to say to you about being involved like you are?
Yeah, I mean, they're like, oh shit, like they're proud, they're happy about it. I look to them for advice and thoughts, and like, what is this? Well, talk to my mom about wanton endangerment, and she was like, yeah, that's bullshit. This is literally like the lowest level thing that you can get. Wow. Talk to my pops about just the case and how how prosecution and defense attorneys work and like all that type of stuff, because he was an attorney for years. My mom's a judge for years.
We'll touch on that.
Yeah.
Like the prosecution is typically on the side of the police, and then for it to turn and then be the one that's going to bring the case of charges against the police. It's a flaw in the system.
It's a flaw. So the Attorney General, he in his own words, Daniel Cameron, in his own words, he is the chief law enforcing officer of Kentucky or of the Commonwealth. If he throws that around a lot.
Before you go further, do you know about his background, like how he got to be?
Yeah.
Let's break that for us a little bit.
Daniel Cameron is a 35-year-old male black guy. He grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, but I believe he's originally from somewhere else, but moved there when he was early. So grew up in Kentucky. Ended up going to University of Louisville, played football for the Louisville. Is it the Cardinals? I always forget the team. It's like a bird. But anyway, University of Miami, who was my team, slapped them a few weeks ago, which I'm fucking happy about. So anyway, right. Slapped them around. But he became a McConnell scholar at Louisville, University of Louisville.
Mitch McConnell, everybody, in case y'all don't know. The one that looks like a tortoise.
Yeah. It looks like Thanksgiving turkey. Got the neck and flabos.
Y'all know what he looked like. Goofy looking.
Yeah.
You goofy looking, Mitch.
Yeah. Super goofy. So Mitch McConnell, so he became a McConnell scholar. So basically he started, that's where, from my understanding, that's where his relationship with Mitch McConnell kind of started. So kind of like, how internships, kind of start, you get a liking for someone and then you start working with them. He has, he was like on his legal team, but not his lawyer, but like on his legal staff. Yeah. And basically, so we're in the end of 2020. At the middle to end of 2019, that's when Daniel Cameron was running to become the Attorney General of Kentucky. So he hasn't even been the Attorney General for a year. And when he ran, and you can read articles. You go to Courier Journal. They do a hell of a job breaking stuff down. Courier Journal, this is the local Louisville newspaper.
We'll put the links in the description.
Yeah. So he never had any experience prosecuting the case before he even got on the ballot.
I saw that.
To run for Attorney General.
So essentially, a black man, ladies and gentlemen, did not have the credentials for the job, and he got the job. Right?
Yeah.
Does that sound like?
Does that
happen? That shit don't happen, right?
This one
that
time.
Shit don't happen, people. That shit don't. George Bush can be a C student and be president, but a black man? Come on now. So how does a black man get that position?
Hey, you have to look at it. And when I did the research, it made it very clear that Mitch McConnell and your boy 45 and all of them, you could tell that they're trying to have this homegrown, fucking political
in-house Negro, right?
Basically, yeah.
This is some get out shit, y'all.
Yeah, some people.
If y'all take his picture, flash him, see what happened. I'm just saying, see what happened.
So one person told me they're like they look at McConnell as basically McConnell basically like we can't find our own Obama, so let's build it. Let's build them.
I know, dead ass they had that conversation. Yeah. No, bro, they had that conversation. So let's cook us up a nice black man who's gonna do everything. We're gonna pay him good, and he's gonna shut up. He gonna do our bidding. Yeah. That's 100% what's going on right now. And he's just as happy as can be, just cheesing. You see his hairline all jacked up.
Yeah, you need a hairline. Yeah, you need a haircut.
You lost as a black man. Your hairline is like.
Ain't even the hairline, it's the whole cut. Like it's like you wake out of bed, you go out of bed and you just like shake your head, whatever, like put some water in your hair and just walk out, like something's up. But the point is more of like he just like they for sure just put this man in front of the camera and basically like, yo, you gonna be the person, you gonna be our Trojan horse. Like people aren't gonna question you, or at least they thought they weren't. They're not gonna question you because they can't throw the race card at you.
They can't.
But he could play the race card when he was running against Greg Stumble, who was and so he was like, Greg Stumble was trying to like discredit me and stuff like that, trying to play this race card. I've been able to deal with this stuff, and I'm like, listen. So whenever I'm doing anything, I let it be known when I'm tweeting at him, blah blah blah. You can't play the race card with me.
There you go.
You ain't legitimate, dog.
There you go.
Like, very much illegitimate, and I promise that I will do as much as I can to make sure that justice, is served. the right way, and making sure that people know who this man is, so that his political career goes no further than Attorney General.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say that it's going to end and it'll be short-lived, but one thing that I know is corrupt is the South for sure. Yeah. And but I do want to give a lot of love and credit to the sisters in the movement, because they've been doing a lot. Tamika Mallory did an amazing job going in on this goofy. You know, she tore him a whole new one.
Daniel Cameron is no different than the sellout Negroes that sold our people into slavery.
She said it.
And helped white men to capture our people, to abuse them and to traffic them, while our women were raped, while our men were raped by savages. That is who you are, Daniel Cameron. You are a coward, you are a sellout, and you were used by the system to harm your own mama, your own black mama. We have no respect for you. No respect for your black skin, because all of our skin folk ain't our kin folk, and you do not belong to black people at all.
But not all skin folk is kin folk, and you saw what man, come on now.
Her whole Until Freedom team, that's comprises of a bunch of different women, a bunch of men.
Teslyn Figaro, she's amazing.
Okay, yeah, I don't even know the whole roster.
She's amazing. There's a couple people, what I'm noticing is it's a lot more women at the forefront of this movement, doing the work, even for BLM, which I know a lot of people aren't on the same team with BLM, but at least look, wherever it's getting funded, whatever it's about, there's a lot of particulars. We'll get into that another time, but I know that they're doing something, right? Yeah. Nobody's perfect, and you definitely always should look into all information that you get, because social media is not just because you get something. I posted something recently and I was already off. My man was like, look at that post again. I looked at it and oh, my bad. So, you can easily retweet something that's inaccurate, people. So just, pay attention to what you're reading and do your homework. It doesn't take anything to Google a little bit more and find out some information.
That's what I've been being very responsible, or trying to be very responsible about, is before I'm posting something, especially knowing that it's 40,000 people who are looking, or at least let's just say if you cut it in half, like let's just say 20,000 or some bots or something like that.
Right.
That's still a lot of fucking people who are looking at whatever you're posting, and some people take it as the law. So making sure that you're right in not right. Yes, make sure that you're correct in like sources, and you've done the research. You kind of double and triple checked. Make sure that you're not just reading opinion articles, but also reading objective articles as well. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on.
So this is the thing. It pains me to say this, but Breonna's not going to be the last one.
For sure.
So
it's been more since.
So yeah, and I know,
Mm-hmm.
and so what you have here is a seed, and it's grew, it sprouts, and it's starting to grow. Yep. And do you see it becoming something bigger than what it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, even just a simple, model of it is just, making it easier for people to access the tools to demand justice.
Yeah.
So I want to, figure out whatever that platform is to make sure those type of things can get, people have access to those things, and it can be easily built and be, replicated for others to come, unfortunately. So that's definitely in the works. Those are definitely thoughts. Yeah.
And something that comes with awareness in general, people, is when people are more informed, then they are able to act and in a timely fashion. That just happens with being educated. So if you have the information, like recently they dropped all the recordings from the case. A lot of people don't know that, but I noticed that he's been posting about that. So when you get that information out to the people, then the people are able to sit there, digest it, understand what's going on, and be present. And that's really what I want people to do, is be present and timely, because time is of the essence when it comes to matters that are life and death. That's really what we're dealing with right now, is life and death.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I know that you watch a lot of CNN or watch a lot of news and, understand the different players in the whole political game.
Yeah,
and
I don't like none of them.
Yeah.
None of them. They all a bunch of crooks. They all robbing us blind. Look, that's another day. I'm because, ooh, Lord, Charlie. Ooh, Charlie. Yeah. It'll take a minute. I get into that another day. I'll just tell you what. What's that statement? You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled?
Yep. Ran astray.
Man, come on now.
Led astray.
Come on now. And I tell you what, I know a lot of sisters that's just in love with the movement from the Democratic side.
You mean like Kamala and all that?
Yeah, they both boo-boo. Both of them. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we both have listened to different things that Ice Cube has said.
Yeah.
And I think he right on the money.
Yeah.
I think that this is a very unique.
I was so thankful that he said.
Yeah. This is a very unique election. Only unique. Unique from the standpoint of like, we've had a lot of assholes, but like a lot of people who ain't doing shit for black people. But you got a different kind of asshole who, it's like, all right. It's like, all right, let's, like, how sometimes you got, like, let's get this thing out of the way so that we can, we can get to the shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't think it works like that. I've had, with your brother, Kamal Curtis, shout out to you, bro.
Yep.
We've had our debates. He's a very well-read, smart man.
Yeah.
And I've had debates with my mom, my bros. I'm on a different path. Nobody agrees with my sentiments, and I understand completely. It might be a little bit extreme, but I know one thing is like following the pack is typically not the best move. One of the books I read recently, still reading, is The Perennial Seller by Ryan Holiday. And it speaks on a lot of the major players when it comes to business operations, like the first people to jump on Google Glass, or the first people to jump on like any product that everybody was like, oh, you got to get on this right now, and how those products were like, they were taste of the town right now. They weren't flash in the pan type of things. And I want everybody to notice how we're all so quick to, just everybody wants Trump out, right? Yeah. Everybody. There's no question, no doubt in my mind. He's piece of S, right? Yeah. Everybody hates him. I hate him, right? Yeah. I hate strong word. I very much dislike this man.
Yeah.
But I just, I want you guys to know that there's no difference. Like, one's barking and the other one's also not offering you a damn thing.
Yeah.
And has 47 years backlogged of fuckery. Straight up fuckery.
Yeah.
So you just like, what? Because you don't want nobody barking at you, so you just quick to jump off. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, we running for one crazy for another crazy. Ain't nothing's happening in my opinion. So I
ain't saying I got the answers. I'm not gonna say that.
I thought about that. I think I got some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely coming together. It's on some. It's really on some financial stuff. Really. The dollar, the purse, controls the movement. This is one of my issues with both parties, right? So Trump would propose something we all know is dumb, and then the Democrats will go, we don't agree, right? But then they'll have something like a voice vote. A voice vote is like, it's not on record, so it's like yay or nay, right? But it's not on record, so nobody can say when it comes to like election time, oh, you were with this. Yeah, I was, but it's not on record. So, so they'll do goofy shit like that, right? But who controls the purse right now? Nancy Pelosi. So how does Trump get funded to do anything that he wants to do? Nancy Pelosi. they have funded majority of what this crazy man has wanted to do. And then we sit back and go, you know what they want? They have given him so much just so he can go and implode, right? So he can implode. And they refuse to give, during COVID, the backup that's necessary. One of the things is Trump was like, all right, I'll give y'all some money, right? But y'all got to put my name on them checks. And the Dems was like, nah, we ain't going to put your name on them checks because, that's just not going to work for us. All right. Makes sense. You don't want him advertising, right? It makes perfect sense. But at the same token, there are people suffering and like right now. Right now. People going hungry. Why do you think people tearing up streets?
Right.
Because they got money? Because they happy? Nah, they're tearing stuff up because it's a problem. It's a problem. So
yeah. My bad. It's just sinister.
No, it's okay. So if you 100% are opposed to something and you know that you have a great shot at getting your man in, which is Biden, which is dope, then what are you going to do as your party? You're going to make sure that you filibuster and make sure that you don't give this man what he's asking for at all so that you can get your person in.
Right.
But it's really like prevent defense is what they're doing. And if you've played football or any sport, and I know I used to watch the Lions. I don't watch them no more, but I used to watch my team, Detroit Lions. Prevent defense in Michigan, they used to do the same thing. Is essentially like playing not to lose,
right?
Not playing to win. And that's that. If I could describe the DNC as a whole, it's playing not to lose.
Agreed. I think that it's playing a different game. Whenever I'm watching this, like it felt like the Republicans are out for blood. Like it's
savages.
Like
crazy savages.
We're not just gonna blow you out. We're gonna put our foot on your neck. We're gonna embarrass you. We're gonna dance in the end zone. We're gonna blow kisses at your girl who might be on the other, on the cheerleading squad. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they're dirty. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's like the Democrats like trying to play by the rules and stuff, and it's like y'all don't understand. Ain't no rules.
Ain't no rules.
Like this fucking alley fight.
I mean, you already see what's happening with the justice that they're trying to put in. Like they don't care.
Nah,
they don't care at all. They've never cared. Lindsey Graham just had a debate talking about some. He had nothing to say in that debate that he had with Homeboy.
Yeah,
nothing to say.
Homeboy got him out too with the response.
Oh, he tore him a whole new one. Yeah. He did, but it's in the South, so I don't think it resonated. That's my issue. It's like I don't think when you're in different pockets of this country, logic doesn't seem to apply. It really does not seem to apply. It's really based on because they've done such a great job at dividing us, and it's more than racism. People, it's class. It's all about classism more so than anything. So, in my opinion, my very strong opinion, it's even with Breonna, the police were initially instated. We could talk about slavery. That's a whole other thing, but to protect the wealth of the wealthy. That's what their purpose was. And it's still to this day, the principle. We want to protect the people with assets more so than the people of the have-nots. And when that happens, you have a situation like Breonna Taylor, because he's considered what? A have-not. And as long as you got the taxpayer dollars, you can pay that off. That's a one-off. Yeah. She's gone. Nobody cares, right? And then we'll go along doing the same damn shit we've been doing.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
I had a conversation with one of my boys, and it was a bunch of like war type of analogies that we were talking about, and he was like, think about this, whatever verdict, whatever statement that Daniel Cameron was going to make or decision that was going to be made for the office of Daniel Cameron, or from the office of Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General, it had to be in service of his soldiers. You know what I'm saying? The soldiers being the police. Because though the soldiers are the people who are implementing your policies, your agenda, like law enforcement. They're enforcing the laws that you are creating.
In the prosecution.
Yeah.
They gang, bro.
Yeah.
They are gang. So how you gonna split gang? And how you gonna split the leader of a gang in the tribe and say, okay, I need a leader to go ahead and prosecute or bring charges against his team?
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Why?
That'd be like if
they gonna look at you crazy. Like, nah, we did what you told us.
That'd be like if I was taking a class and my aunt was the teacher. There's no way I'm failing the class. Like, I'm not gonna fail that class. She might be like, yo, Jay, come on. But I'm not failing that class.
Not failing that class. It's not going to happen.
She's going to go above and beyond to make sure that I'm all right. And so when you have wanton endangerment, it's like, bro, dog, you shot into a window and you didn't have no clear view.
Yo,
it's a slap on the come on. So we have
body cameras.
We're gonna have to do something.
What's up with the body cammers?
Nah.
Why them joints is always kind of hit and miss now? What's going on with these body cameras?
Oh, I thought I turned it on. For some reason, it wasn't working.
How are they hacking these body cameras and they're only coming on after the fact?
Yeah.
Post facto. How's that happening?
I have no idea, man.
There should be felony charges for tampering with body cameras. Because I'll tell you right now, there's definitely some felony charges if you even raise a hand to an officer. So if they're going to do something that's going to endanger you, which is simple, it's like a camera. We need that. That's our protection.
100%.
If they're going to do that, and there's countless cases every single day. There's the guy in, Jacob Blake. Got shot 7 times. So for us, it's so much worse because we can get you 100% on camera shooting us,
right? And
you still got a high probability of getting off.
I mean, that's the insane thing is that how many different things have been on camera and how little is actually mattered. Like that's the insane thing. That's when you start getting into a place that's very dangerous. Where you have people, it's like multiple thoughts go to my head. You have people they're going to hit the streets. And they ain't trying to come with that peaceful shit, and as I'm cussing stuff as I go into my next thing, which is I had my old pastor from when I lived in New York. He would say that people do wrong when they don't believe that doing good works anymore. And I think that what's happening now is that you have a lot of people who are fed up. They've done the right thing. They've been law-abiding citizens. They've gone to school. They've done the right thing, obeyed the law, all that type of stuff. Now they're looking like, but my people still being slain. It's time for a different, reaction now.
You are taking the lives of people's their children.
Yeah.
You're taking the lives of somebody's husband, somebody's dad, What do you think is going to happen? One of the best things I saw during all this civil unrest was Dave Chappelle's stand-up that he did after George Floyd, 846, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he described the gentleman, I forget his name, the gentleman who went on a one-man mission against the police in California.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a former officer. And Dave's simple response was like, what do you think? The way the police showed up to go and take that man out?
Yep.
What do you think people will do if you keep taking their loved ones from them? What do you think is going to happen? And then the first thing they want to fuss and bitch about is some land and some property. I'm not for destroying property, but also at the same token, it's not a life.
Nah, and you can't, exactly. And it can't continue being this thing of like, you know what, I'm going to kill you on the street. Hey, but if y'all going to protest, y'all better be peaceful.
Y'all better be peaceful. Y'all better do how we tell you to do it.
You have the right to say that we shouldn't kill your people, but if you think about raising a hand, you're going to have some problems.
How many protests I don't seen and the police doing wild stuff, pushing a man to the ground, cracking his head open. I just saw an officer roll his bike over somebody's head.
In Seattle.
Hold on.
Yep.
What?
In Seattle. Yep. And then they talking about, we need to investigate. Investigate what? Did you think that nigga head was a fucking soccer ball?
No. What was his intent? His intent was to not roll over his head, and so it just so happened to happen. Come on, man. Y'all gotta stop with this. The benefit of the doubt given to the departments, police, any department, it's absurd.
Did you watch Chris Rock on Saturday Night Live yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, pretty good opening. He was talking about, and you've heard him say this in what's the other Tambourine stand up?
Yeah.
When he was talking about like people like bad at your job and something about pilots and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he was talking about he was like he was talking about Trump, and he was like, what type of system do we live in where you can be bad, you can be horrible at your job, but if you got 4 more years left, on your contract, then, it's all good. He was like, what if you had a fucking chef and every time he cooked something, he made people vomit? But people were like, hey,
you wouldn't have had your job. Same with Mr. Cameron.
More years on this.
Same with Mr. Cameron, who has a lit job and is not qualified. Shit, this is in a world of like Alice in Wonderland. Like nothing making sense in this country of ours. Nothing's making sense at all anymore. And I think the people know it. That's why there's so much civil unrest. My personal hope is for people to continue marching, continue protesting, continue organizing, and continue to speak out against the injustices that's happening to people, because it won't stop. If we go and sit our asses down, it's not going to stop. It's only going to continue, and because they're doing it in front of us with cameras on. They don't give a damn.
It's so arrogant.
It's some cocky shit.
Yeah, we're gonna do this in front of you, and it's like, I dare you to say something. What you gonna do?
Nothing.
What you gonna do?
That's what they're really dead ass telling us. Y'all ain't gonna do shit.
What you gonna do?
And then the moment we even flinch, a black person to come up, because we're sometimes our own worst enemy. We'll say, okay, there'll be somebody to step up and say, okay, then y'all calm down. We forgive you.
Yeah,
we're so quick to forgive. Why? You don't have to forgive to understand that what happened is messed up. You can say, all right, you did that. I don't forgive you, bro. We good. But we gonna figure out how to fix this. I need to be about fixing it. Damn your forgiveness. I don't care about forgiving jack shit. If you killed somebody that's a loved one of mine, or even, look, I'm gonna tell you what type of psychological stress this puts on me as a black man. Every time I step out in the streets, I saw a video back in the day of this little black kid was playing out in his driveway. Police car drove by and the kid went and hid. I remember doing the same shit as a kid.
Yeah.
If you don't think that's some psychological terror,
when I see police officers, one of my old jobs, I used to walk to lunch, and anytime I see a police officer walking on the same side of the street as me, I cross the street like it's a stray dog.
That's
like, hell no. I'm not gonna be in any type of proximity of y'all motherfuckers. It's like, no, I can't trust y'all. Y'all supposed to be working for the people. Why do I have zero? How come when I see firefighters, everything is just all good? Nobody hates firefighters.
Nobody.
They come in, they do their damn job. They take cats out of fucking trees. I know they don't do that. But
EMT. Nobody gets mad at them trees.
Fucking put out fires. They be taking, older women and old folks to the damn hospital, picking them up if they fail. Nobody hates them. Police, people have a distaste for them.
Yeah, very strong. But then there's people who support very strongly. And this is the cool part, because it's a very nuanced thing, right? I know some police officers. One in Detroit for sure, former officer Billy Lawrence, who, shout out to Billy, because he's a phenomenal guy. They're not all bad. That's true. That is a very super, super true statement. They're not all bad. But the problem lies in the fact that the good ones aren't speaking up against the bad ones. And they technically can't, because it's a social environment. When you have an environment where there's a hierarchy, and then there's a established, what groupthink. It's hard to break that. And then there's people who have tried and they've lost their job, they've lost their livelihood, how they can get it's happened.
You get blackballed, and it's a fraternity of sorts, and have you read this article? It's called All Cops Are Bastards.
No.
It's on my IG page, through the link you find it, but it's
yikes.
It's called All Cops Are Bastards, and it's written by a former cop, and he's basically saying, I know people always want to say it's, all cops not bad, or whatever, and he's like, I'm here to tell you they all are. And he was like, not because they went into being the police, went to joining the academy or anything like that with ill intentions. It's just that the culture of being a police officer is so strong, it indoctrinates you into the bullshit.
Let's take your team, the you, right?
Yeah,
that's a culture.
For sure.
You know, if you play for the Miami Hurricanes at any era, obviously the 80s and 90s is probably like the ultimate prime, and then early 2000s. Yeah, for sure. But you carry that with pride. It's a banner of pride. So they did a lot of wild boy shit, right? But you're not going to snitch on your teammates for doing wild boy shit because you're a part of that culture. Yeah. You actually approve of it until years later you grow up and you mature, you have a family of your own, and then you'll start speaking up against, we were kind of wrong. Yeah, that's all it is. Nobody got time for your kind of wrong years later when people are dying in the now. The here and now, people are dying.
Yeah, I mean, and it's such a fucked up thing is when I look at, I said earlier, I was talking about like having a privilege as being, a black male. There is they have a fucking job. Like it ain't even just a privilege. You have a responsibility of, protecting and serving the people. Like even when people talk about like the police are the authorities, they ain't the authority. They are not the authorities. That is a misconception. They are not the authorities.
They carry themselves as such.
That's what I'm saying. That's a whole different thing.
They've been given carte blanche to do as they please by a system that is definitely set up to dismantle I would just call it the pawns of the world. That's pretty much how they treat us, like pawns. They don't give a fuck.
That's in that article I was saying all cops are bastards. The guy was saying how he was like they get trained to believe. They have people come in and preach these different things. Like, all right, cool. One thing that they talk about is there's wolves. There's sheep and there's shepherds. It's like the wolves they teach this thing like the wolves are the criminals that's out here. Okay. The sheep are like normal civilians, law-abiding citizens or whatever it is, who are just out here just kind of helpless and don't know what the fuck is going on. And wolves are just gonna eat them and fucking ravage them. And it's up for them, the shepherds, to take care of the people who are otherwise helpless and all this type of shit. But they go into this thing like, we're taught to go into, onto duty, onto the beat, as if it's like somebody's gonna blow your head off like at any second, and it's like, that's possible, bro. But in terms of, but when you build up that fear, when you start to indoctrinate this whole thing of, you gotta have each other, make it home. The only thing you need to do is make it home.
Don't blink, don't think twice. How about de-escalation?
Jonathan Mattingly, the officer who got shot in the leg in Breonna Taylor's apartment. And I'm deliberately not saying by who, because it's not proven by who. It's not proven.
Right.
They haven't proved that it was.
Could be friendly fire.
Yes. If your motherfucking coworkers are shot over 22 rounds, 22 rounds, or 20 rounds or whatever, of ammo.
You don't know. And plus, they even said it themselves, wonton, whatever, basically shooting spray. Yeah. They don't know what the hell they did.
So, and when I say that, and I'm going to say these facts just because some people could be listening like, that's just somebody just talking shit. So, the facts are that Miles Cosgrove and Jonathan Mattingly, the guy who got shot in his leg, he actually wrote an email before Daniel Cameron gave his statement for who, like, the cop being indicted, and but then I was saying how he got shot in the leg, but I wasn't specifying who shot him in the leg because that can't be proven right now. Right. And they did the ballistics on the bullet, right? And they couldn't determine. So the ballistics. So Daniel Cameron says that it was the bullet came from Kenneth Walker, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend's handgun, because it was a 9mm bullet and he had a 9mm gun, and that the cops had 40 caliber guns. However, they say that Hankinson, who got charged for wanton endangerment, shooting all over the place, he was also issued a 9mm gun. But I was saying how I wanted to get more into the facts more facts, because sometimes it could just feel like people are just talking because they read a headline. Mm-hmm. No. Hankinson, after Sergeant Nobles rammed the door with the battering ram, Mattingly was supposedly Mattingly was the first man in. Jonathan Mattingly was the first man in. Then it was Cosgrove. Mattingly says that he got shot in the leg by Kenneth Walker, and then he returned 6 shots. And so they came in the door, and the door is faced, or when they coming in, they're shooting from west east. Okay. And even if you hear in all of the recordings, the track 1 or track 2, you will hear Detective Jeff Fogg say that Hankinson was shooting from south north. Right. Mm-hmm. So if I'm Hankinson, or if I'm Mattingly, and I'm shooting, right, and he got shot in his right leg,
right. How does that happen?
And then you have somebody shooting from your right, aka the south. It's very likely that he could have gotten shot
by his partner. Very likely.
Very likely. So,
but even still, like, the hell with who shot him.
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. Y'all busted in somebody's whole place unannounced, because the statement of the witness who said that they heard that the officers announced themselves retracted that statement, and now is saying that they didn't hear the officers do that.
That person is a person that changed their statement a few times.
Damn.
So it was originally when they got interviewed, they said they didn't hear anything, and they didn't hear the officers announce themselves. And then the second time they interviewed them months later, the second time they interviewed him, he said he did. Then the third time he said, nah, I didn't. So he's going back and forth so many fucking times.
So that's a witness that you no longer, you just throw out everything he's saying. It's who cares what this person's saying? It can't be trusted, right?
Yep.
Plus, he's not, chances that this witness has been tampered with, highly likely. Highly likely. This witness is probably going through it right now.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like, nobody. The worst part is the people who are victims in this case. I want you to really, really let this sit in. You're in a relationship. Whatever you did throughout the day, maybe y'all watch TV, maybe y'all watch some Netflix, maybe y'all, made love, whatever y'all did, right?
Yeah.
You go down, shut it down for the night. You hear some rustling outside of your crib. You fellas, you know what's gonna happen. Your girl's gonna be like, hey, check that out. What's going on? So you gonna do what as a man? What? I mean, if you got a piece, you gonna go get it. If not, then you gonna grab a bat, something, right? Mm. This is what I'm trying to get people to understand. It's like, it's not just so much this man got a gun for protection, because Louisville, Kentucky is a stand your ground state, right? Law in the state, or just the city? I believe it's stand your ground. Stand your ground is the same thing that happened with Trayvon Martin, right? So, which means that you're in your home, your domicile, right? So you have the right to protect yourself. Anybody has that right. So what if that officer got shot? That's the part that's messed up. The officer came, they came and busted up a happy home, unannounced.
Yep.
Playing cops and robbers.
Yep.
Hoorah shit.
Yep.
Like, we have over-militarized our officers, and we continue to fund the bull. We continue to fund it and give them more tanks, more. Why are we giving them so much ammunition towards the people who pay them to protect and serve? Whom are they going to war with? This is war equipment. Who are they going to war with, people? Do you see it every day on the news?
Yep.
And then they get mad when you don't protest peacefully.
Yeah, they out here, they gearing up like it's like they playing Call of Duty.
1 + 1 don't equal 2, people. This stuff don't make no sense. Why is everybody so stressed and giving? Why are they so armed to the teeth right now? Because the economy's messed up. COVID's going crazy. People aren't getting health care. People aren't getting funds. No jobs. No nothing. It's the wealth gap is increasing. And then they want to blind you all with racism. That's really what they want to do. Racism is, you got the Antifa. They try to scare you on the left side. Oh, Antifa is radical. Right. Those liberals is crazy. Then you got the Proud Boys who Trump couldn't denounce in the debate. They're standing by.
Stand back and stand by.
Right. What do you think is going to happen when you got everybody up in arms about foolishness, when the real foolishness is the robbery that's happening at the top?
Yep.
That's the real foolishness.
100%. They keeping everybody blind. You know, it's you know, Trump and his whole party, they've been for you know, these years, definitely, you know, jingling keys over here while the real shit is happening, you know, over here. You know, it's like distraction tactics. And that's why I'm believing. They are.
They are working. That's the part that can get me. I sit back, look at the bullshit, and be like, come on now.
Well, it's working because of the media's
propaganda.
No, not so much that. It's the media's over respect for the seat of the presidency and how they believe somebody who holds that seat should behave.
Ooh, that's deep.
So when you have this thing, it's this outrage. It's like, how dare somebody who holds the seat of the presidency, say, grab him by the pussy. How dare somebody who calls it the kung flu? Yeah. How dare? And it's like all of that shit is wild and it's bullshit. And it's fucking
porn stars
racist,
and all that.
Sexist. It's all of that shit. The misogyny is crazy. All of that shit is crazy. But the thing is, with the media, you need to stay fucking focused. Have your people, editors out there, have your people, have your staff, have a column that's for the bullshit, all of the wild shit that Trump is saying. So you keep tabs of all of that, but also the real shit. So you're covered on both ends, so that you can also say, all right, what policies has he actually put forward? What things did he campaign on and actually it came true? Like, it needs to be more focused on it, because right now it's people just chasing their tails to write the first article about the latest thing that he said about standing back and standing by. 50,000 people, news outlets wrote about that. All right, cool. What's the real shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think part of it is the people are. See, here's the thing. Like, yeah, the media is guilty, but they know what they're doing. I think when you're educated and you know what's happening and you participate anyways, then that sensationalism that you're participating in is you're equally a part of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's one thing when people, it's happened since the ancient Roman times. So when the people are disgruntled, angry, getting ready to turn up, what they try to do is, bless you, they try to smoke screen and mirrors like you were talking about, but with sensationalism and entertainment. These are the two ways that they're able to quell the anger and hostility of the people, right? So you think about the Colosseum and what they did back in the day, where they had to fight to the gladiators, right? And today, if you think about the NBA and the players continuing to play, but for instance, there was a moment where they all kind of stood together. Yeah. Couldn't happen in NFL, but the NBA tried it.
Yeah.
And then, certain people stepped in and said, hey, you guys go back and play. And what does that do? When you go back to things as usual, it lets people know that things aren't so bad, but really they are terrible. The house is on fire. I want people to know the house is on fire.
It's like you said, who controls the purse?
Who controls the purse?
When you got that almighty dollar, that's the dude. People give so much praise to Adam Silver, which I think he's done a good job. But it's like
Adam Silver.
Yeah, the commissioner of the NBA.
Oh, dude, man. Like, all right, my bad. I was thinking political. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
people give him so much credit for how progressive he is, and I think he's done a great job.
He's better than others.
Yes, he's better than others.
So the margin is like you don't have to do much to be better.
People are like, damn, yeah, it's so progressive. It's like you know that they still have in their rule books that you can't kneel for the anthem, even though all of them are doing it now. In the bubble, it's kind of horse and pony show. But I think that he was so quick to getting the NBA players back into playing because of all these TV contracts and stuff like that. And I get it. But
what does that do with people's time though? It's not idle anymore. Now we're watching stuff. Now we're entertained.
That's what Kyrie was saying. There's many things I don't agree with Kyrie. That's what he was saying. He was like, yeah, we're giving people distraction. And some people can like, yo, you don't have any say in this because y'all ain't in the playoffs, or they were. I think they were, but either way, he wasn't playing. So they're like, yo, you don't have any skin in the game right now. But
that's to me the equivalent of saying, why are you comparing Kaepernick to Ali? He's never won anything like Ali. I'm like, bro, what type of ignorant statement is that? Who cares what this man has won? He clearly had enough clout to command some attention for just taking a knee, right? So you gonna come out with some, he's not a champion like Ali. You know what about Ali? People during Ali's time where he was doing what he was doing and standing up for injustice weren't rocking with him.
Hated that man.
They weren't rocking with Martin. They weren't. At no point in time were the people that we love and revere today were people rocking with them when they were alive and breathing. Think about that. Shout out to Nike. I mean, partially I respect what they're doing, but also I understand that it's some money grab. So
yeah, they're taking advantage of it. I mean, it's like they're doing better than others. So,
but they're smart with it. They're smart with it. They're picking the right side.
They're doing what they should do.
If anything, if you're gonna be just gluttonous with the money and greedy, at least be on the right side of history.
Yeah, I agree with that.
People, where do you see the pendulum swinging with history? Where do you think all this mess is gonna go? Everybody's looking so goofy right now, talking about some Proud Boys and Stay Back and Trump. Like, where do you think the pendulum eventually? It's going to swing to the right side of like justice eventually. I'm saying I'm alive right now. I don't have time for the BS. I'm not about to bring no kids into this world and y'all acting like this. This is some hoorah. I'm not with it. I'm not with the shits. I'm sorry. You're not about to have me fearful for my kids' lives. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have a whole different situation.
Yeah, straight up.
Clearly, it's so easy to get off subject. I wanted to really focus on the activism part.
Yeah.
And it's important.
Yep.
I think it is easy to be upset, angered, and then get a little bit like a little aggressive, right?
Yep.
It's easy to do that. And I'm not telling anybody to do anything violent. I don't want y'all to do nothing like that. Activism is important. What that means is put down, if you got straps, put them down, right? If you feel like going out, I saw a video today where a Trump supporter socked somebody who was just like minding their own business and protesting. I don't want you swinging on nobody either. When I said that I had earlier in the podcast, I said there was control of the purse, control of the money. It means like we control our dollars and cents. We control, and it's no different than the bus boycott back in the day, right? So if we can start keeping our money circulating within and stop letting it get out to other communities like other cultures do, and if we shut stuff down, we have sincere control. That's why it hurt, very much hurt when the NBA got back into business. And I'm not going to put it all on LeBron, but he had so much power. He actually had all the power. And they talked him into getting back in it. And then we're happy because, we get to be entertained for a little bit. So I'm guilty too. But nobody's perfect in this fight. Nobody's perfect in this fight. No fight is supposed to be perfect. And to even call it a fight, it's just, we just want justice. I think what I love about James Baldwin is he said something about, I just want to be left alone.
Yeah, leave us the fuck alone.
I'm not even saying like we want some, like just leave us alone. Let us be. Let us figure this thing out on our own. We don't need a handout. We're not asking for that. Just like back up, give us 50 feet, let us breathe.
Yep.
It's real simple. But I love what Jelani's doing. He's definitely someone that he's a leader. Let's just put that out there right now, because he stepped up and he did something that other people weren't doing. So that makes him, without a doubt, a leader. So you can follow his footsteps, or you can take the initiative, step out and do something of your own. It could be you can create a podcast, you can get out there and march, you can organize, you can donate. You can start bringing more attention to the causes, to even the people in your immediate circle. If you're educated about it, and there's so many other people that you realize aren't talking about it, they're talking about the game last night, then take a minute, take a beat.
I appreciate it. I think that, to me, I think it's like there's no option of sitting on the sidelines. And, I think it's everybody has to look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, like, what it is that they're doing. And everybody's call is going to be different. But I think it's everyone has to look at themselves in the mirror and, like, they, see and search, like, what unique abilities have I been blessed with? What skill sets do I have? What access do I have? People in power, or people that have platforms, whatever it is.
100%.
And then I think there's somewhere in that searching that will be an answer for the way that you should fight, or the way that you can help, maybe those who kind of built like the foundational pillars to fight. So it's like there's no excuse. I'm not gonna sit here and just be like telling people exactly what they need to do, but I'm just gonna say, like, doing nothing just is not an option.
Yeah. And there's influencers who have spoken up and denied, didn't do certain jobs. I'm always gonna mess his name up, like King Batch. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
He did a phenomenal job. He spoke the hell up.
That was great.
I've seen a lot of people speak up, that like celebs out here that I probably even bumped into. So I appreciate that. But still, there's so much more that we can do, people. Yeah. I mean, like, if they're bold enough to bust in your house, shoot you, kill you, and get off with it, then there's no real laws right now. That's the scary part. Like, this isn't justice. This isn't, like, what are we fighting for? What's happening right now? You got kids being taught on Zoom classes. It's wild, wild west right now, right? But we're living in the most advanced time of civilization, and this is the wildest time at the same token. So, take it with a grain of salt. Understand what's going on. Be educated. If anything that I want you to get from what Jelani did is that he took the time to look at certain information before he puts it out on the platform for Breonna Taylor. That's probably the bare minimum I want, is like to do your due diligence and research what you're hearing, because a lot of it is some bull. So make sure you're getting the right information first and foremost. Yeah,
and I'm glad you said that. I was just having a conversation last night about it, and one of the things I was talking about was how I can get super deep if I want to, but so there's two. It's like you have on one side you have people, let's just say specifically about Breonna Taylor, they're like, oh well, she was dealing drugs, she was doing this, da da da, which is false. But then on the other end, even if you are fighting for and on the side of Breonna Taylor, there's things like false narratives as well, like people saying she was sleeping in her bed. She wasn't sleeping in her bed. She didn't get shot while she was in bed. And not that it makes it better that she was in her hallway.
That's important.
But I'm just saying that it's like try to understand the facts, because it's so easy to just continue to repeat what people are just saying.
Some people might not know why it matters where she was when she got shot. I think some people don't care. Like, she got shot no matter what. Who cares?
No, for sure. And it does. In the grand scheme of it, it doesn't matter. Nobody should break into your crib, and then if you in the kitchen or dining room, on the couch, standing up, shooting shit with your significant other, it doesn't matter. My thing is just piggybacking off of the aspect of just the information and like the spread of misinformation.
Yeah.
So I just want us to be more informed. Like I was saying earlier in the podcast, the Courier Journal does a really good job of reporting. There's a news outlet, I think it's WFLP or WFPL.
Yeah.
They're like this like nonprofit, like kind of like small scrappy group that's in Kentucky.
I'll definitely check them out.
And they're just like doing
they're local.
They do local. Okay. They do like live tweeting during like interviews with the governor or with whoever the political leaders are. Like they on top of it. So, but just stay informed. Stay informed. I'm trying to get more informed with political process. Things to vote on, all of the different propositions.
Voting, that's huge too. We didn't even touch on voting, which we got like less than I think 30 days or 29 days now.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to say about voting in itself?
The only thing the thing I can say is that, and I posted this on my IG earlier, or at least in the story. It was like you're never gonna hear me say just go vote.
Okay.
Because if you're voting for some bullshit, and if you're voting for some bullshit and voting for people who are continually oppressing the disenfranchised, you're part of the problem. So, just saying vote ain't
just vote. Yeah.
Don't just vote. Vote for some shit that actually matters for people. Like it's actually going to change people. Know who you voting for. Looking, research. Same shit. Just be informed. And I could say going through this process with researching everything going on with Breonna Taylor, I could say now, look into these, like start to understand these district attorneys, start to understand that they have the ability to become attorney generals, start understanding how that judges are elected officials as well, and district attorneys. Judges are elected officials a lot of times. Sometimes they can be appointed, just like some attorney generals can be appointed to even run. But anyway, start to learn about these different parts, because those are the people who end up becoming your Bill Barrs, your Daniel Camerons, your
Kamala Harris's. Yeah.
The whole nine. Those are these people who push the pen across.
Yeah, like it's stepping stones, people. Yeah. You get these positions, and then you finesse your way into the top brass. That's how you do it.
Yeah. So
you said a mouthful right there. You said more than enough. I guess before I close, I want to make sure that we touch on just a little bit, because you started a publishing company as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the publishing company that started 2 years ago, 2018, is called Nighttime Stories for Adults. It's not a XXX company. It ain't about adult entertainment like that. But it's about. It's really the publishing company was started to give adults kind of a reintroduction to like storytelling that's just about pure joy. I think right now, like as we're in our 30s, 40s, however old you are.
25, y'all.
25, 26, however old you are, like as an adult, like you start reading all these self-improvement books about investing and about dieting and about, group economics and all this type of stuff. Like you read all of these things, but I think there's something about giving your brain just like a little bit, like some ease and just like getting just the joy of storytelling. So, my first book that came out was A Dragon Slayer. You can find that. It's an ebook. You can find that on Amazon. You can find it on Google Books, Apple Books. And my second book that came out this year in, was it June? I think it was June. My second book that came out was it was called 360s. And 360s is a story about a high school kid who's trying to get waves. Black kid who's trying to get waves in his hair because he finds that anybody who gets waves they get a wish granted. They get a wish of their choice granted.
Dope story. Dope.
Appreciate it, man.
The concept of it is dope. Yeah.
So it's and that's available on Amazon as well, Apple Books, and as an ebook right now. But I have some special things that are coming out for that book as well before the year's out. So yeah,
beautiful. And then as well, people, don't forget about forbrianna.com. We've been talking about that the entire time. So please check that out. Please continue to make noise and bring attention and awareness to not just Brianna, but let's be honest, there's like from Khalif Browder to like everybody, do your part. There's tons of people who were killed and have not seen justice.
One thing I want to say, my bad to cut you, I know you're closing out.
Go ahead.
One thing I want to say is that if there is someone, because there are so many people that's slain, and it's very hard to keep track of everything, if there's a person that touches you in a certain way, that has been, killed by the hands of police or have gotten social injustice, racial injustice, lock in on them. Lock in on them. Like if Elijah McClain, that moves your heart to dig in deep, because it's gonna be almost impossible for you to, fight for black folks, speak up, march, protest, all that type of stuff. But in terms of if there's one person that you can dedicate your focus on that person, and I think that will help inform others, because everyone doesn't have the either time or the patience to really dive in deep into the case and exactly what happened and the facts and all that type of stuff. So it could be help, or at least for me, it has helped to dive in on one person and be able to kind of spread.
And then I personally touched on this earlier when I was speaking to the fact that it's the racism part is being used to divide us as a nation, right? So it's more classism, people, than racism itself. Racism is a tool, a mechanism that they're using to divide. So when you look at really what's going on, it's about wealth and power and what they can do to keep us separate. Because if we come together, then we have the numbers to go ahead and overturn all the dumb stuff that they're doing, especially when it comes to healthcare, which is one of the most important things. You don't have your health, you don't have anything. So while they keep us divided, they're able to go ahead and continue to implement laws that are continuing to hurt us from the bottom up. It's just continuing to kill us. So I'm not just saying police hurting black folks. Really what the police are doing, like I said earlier, they're protecting the wealth. So when you look at people who have been marginalized, hurt, or brutalized by the police, it's pockets of society that they deem unfavorable. It's got nothing to do with just black folks. Yeah, we're predominantly in those pockets, but it's not just black folks. So if you're brown, yellow, red, white, whatever, and they don't see like you're somebody that's going to contribute something sincerely to society, they're going to do what they want to do and get away with it. So the worst part is that we send our kids to these departments. They become indoctrinated into the gang life of the police culture, and then they turn around and hurt us. That's the crazy part. What the hell? Boy, I'll tell you about, and you know what's happening, because we all know about the Jim Crow laws, right? And is Jim Crow, Willie Lynch, how he turned. Which one am I thinking about?
So Willie Lynch
Willie Lynch, yes, turning lights and darks against each other and House Negro and all that.
Yeah, and I heard recently that might not even be a true. Yeah,
he got a whole like.
Yeah, they saying that the Willie Lynch theory and because I grew up thinking that about this thing too, about Willie Lynch wrote basically a letter to all these slave owners, talking about how to make a slave.
Or I was informed that slave owners, this might be do your homework, but slave owners would go to him to get how do you control your slaves?
Yeah, and this dude, I forget homeboy's name, something Lamont.
Mark Lamont,
something that dark skinned dude who he be on CNN sometimes.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that he was like, "Yo, people, I'm not trying to let y'all know this wasn't a real thing." But I can't fact check that. I don't, or I can, or at some point, but I can't. I don't know the facts.
I'm pretty sure we'll bring you back. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I'll check the books.
But
yeah, we'll definitely flesh that one out. But the what I was really, I'll definitely need to look into that. But the thought behind what I was saying is like to pin people against each other when they're of the same the same group.
Yep.
And it's just trying to get an edge on somebody when you're both at the bottom of the barrel, from the eyes of the people in the power seat. So, look, we talked about a lot. There's a lot that we're asking of you guys. I appreciate you for listening. If you made it this far, there's definitely a reward in it for you. We want to send everybody out $100. No, I'm just kidding. No, honestly, just get out there and do what you can. Please go out and vote. Like he said, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I know what I believe, and it's not the same as everybody else. I understand that. I'll talk about that another time. But in the meantime, I salute to Jelani for coming through. I appreciate your time. Again, please keep doing the good work that you're doing.
Definitely.
You are definitely appreciated. You are a king, and I want you to keep being great and shining your light.
Man, thank you.
Thank you. This is The Colored Entrance. I'm your host, Brian Petty, and we'll see you next episode. Peace.
I don't want to be given anything by you. I just want you to leave me alone so I can do it myself.
Imagine somebody having $32 million, $32 million, and this person has nothing.
A white man 50 years ago told my granddaddy that when my daddy got free, things would be better. When he got grown, now my daddy's grown. Somebody told my daddy that when I got grown, things would be better. Now I'm grown. Now I have the white boy today telling me that when my children get grown, things will be better. So they'll see that this is just an old trick.
Divide and conquer. If I take my hand and slap you, you don't even feel it. It might sting you because these digits are separated. But all I have to do to put you back in your place is bring those digits together.
There must be a revolution of values in our country.
This is the Colored Entrance Podcast.